Members of the Native American community and others, more than 100 strong, gathered this morning in Sioux City, hoping to heal and strengthen their community. The 21st Memorial March to Honor Lost Children kicked off this morning at War Eagle Park. The march is a way to honor and remember the children who've been lost in the state's foster care system. Walkers started bright and early this morning, 7:30 a.m. at War Eagle Monument. From there, they walked to Rosecrans Jackson Center nearby and stopped for a prayer. One singer who was part of the opening drum ceremony shared why this march is so important to him.
This is my community, my hometown, so it's important, especially with the Native community. And, of course, fulfilling my duties and honoring my mother's wishes and Frank's wishes, because they always wanted the drum there. And that's part of my fulfillment and commitment.
Those who work in the foster care system, as well as foster parents, were all a part of the march as well. One foster parent believes it's important to have Native American foster parents to foster those Native American children.
And they don't grow up learning anything about their traditions, cultures, ceremonies, where they're from, who their family is. So being part of a Native family, even if it's not part of their family, it might be their same tribe or, even a neighbor tribe that, is willing to learn those ways and teach that child.
From Rosecrans, the group walked to the Urban Native Center and then the Woodbury County Courthouse. They ended today's march at the Sioux City Convention Center. They also held a memorial dinner at their final stop.